I go by the name of Louis Paterno. I also go down as Luigi Paterno. I'm also Papa Lou. And sometime this month, I'll be close to 90 years old. So let's go back to the beginning, okay? June 29th, 1934, 498 Van Houten Avenue and Passaic, New Jersey, USA. My father at that corner owned what they called a candy store in those days. That's where you buy cigarettes and things, but we lived in the back of the store. So when someone came in, the bell rings, someone run out and take care of the customer. Well, it turns out my mother was having a baby at that time, and it was me. They sent out for the doctor. There was no internet, of course, and not even telephones. But evidently I wanted to be born. So my aunt, my cousin, and two cousins birthed me. You know? And when the doctor arrived, he said, "I'll take care of it." My father said, "He's already born." He said, "Yeah, but I got to check him." And the doctor wanted $2 for the house visit. And my father refused to pay him. He said, "We already did the work, you're too late." And he sent the doctor home. When I heard that story, when I was later on, I realized I was very precious, but I wasn't worth $2. My father, I got to go back because he was a big influence. He wanted to learn English, where he bought a dictionary about this big so he could look up words. He studied history, so he knew who the presidents were and how it worked. And he always wanted to do more. He was doing landscaping at the time, just like most immigrants do. And then he decided to move from New York to New Jersey. And I don't know what kind of mundane job he got, but he was always starting a business. He tried to sell vacuum cleaners. But anyway, he started businesses. And I learned from him because I was very interested in making money, entrepreneur. And he was a perfect example, although he did it his way and I did it my way. Was very lucky, and I still think circumstances and has a lot to do with how you end up years later. Passaic was a town of sections. They had a Polish section, a Jewish section, a black section, Puerto Rican, and all of them were very snobby in their own sections. My father's house happened to be in an area which was on the borderline. One side of the street was Polish, and the other side was Jewish, and we were not miles away from the Italian section. And as a result, I had made a lot of Jewish friends. I went to high school with them, and a lot of them were, well, I'm now talking about I'm 13 years old, and they invited us to their houses for birthday parties, and when I saw how they were living, they had indoor plumbing, they had indoor everything. I said, wow, I think I like this kind of life, and I want to be rich. The local newspaper, and I had about 25 customers. I'm now 10 or 11 years old, and I'm delivering 25 papers every day. And on Saturday, I had to collect the money. By now it was 25 cents a week, you know? And I would go there to collect the money, and we had a card we punch when they gave you the money. But then I realized, you know, it took a while for me to do it on Saturday, and I wanted to go to the football game at the high school. So I said, I'm going to start collecting every 2 weeks. and collect 50 cents every 2 weeks. I only had to do half the route, yeah. So I split it in half, and I made it work. Except the newspaper company, when they found out, didn't like it, because if somebody couldn't pay it, they'd be 50 cents behind, and chances are they'd quit the paper. So they wanted me to go back to collecting every week. And this time I did it for a while, then I did it my way, but I didn't tell them. And if somebody didn't pay, I put the money in just to make sure I collected 100%, even though I had an IOU now from my customer. And I'm 12 years old at that time. So me and my buddy go investigate these abandoned buildings. The smokestack is still there. So we go inside the smokestack. The smokestack is bigger than this. And it turns out there are iron steps in the smokestack. So we start going up. It's a dirty, sooty, scary. This is where I get halfway up. I don't want to go anymore. He's going all the way to the top and sticks his head out over the top. I was too chicken. I would not do it. That scared me. I got halfway up and I started contemplating, what if I fall? What if I get soot? What if I choke? What if it's poisonous? And then I climbed down. If it was my brother or this guy Cinco, he'd go to the top, yeah, and look over the top, yeah. I never had the courage to do that. I was always a chicken, yeah, up to a point. I was always seeing the consequences, and then I was always feeling guilty that I might have to confess it, yeah. Lenny, he didn't give a shit. He'd do it. He'd break a window if he had to. He'd break a leg if he had to. He'd rip his pants, nice new pants, and come back because he got the knee ripped out because he was playing football or decided to climb a tree. Really. Ashamed of myself too. I'll tell you why. The way the papers were delivered, we'd sit on the corner and a truck would come by and throw a bundle of papers for you to go deliver. So while I was hanging around there was a bar there. And so I would sit at the bar, the guy gave me a Coke, he'd let me play on the pool machine while I was waiting for the newspapers to arrive. And when the newspapers arrived, one of the guys at the bar said, "Yeah, one you can sell me?" I said, "No, I have just enough for every, you know." And he wanted to give me 25 cents for one newspaper. So I sold him a newspaper. Now I was short one. And I said, what am I gonna do? And I finally said, I have one good customer. Sometimes paper gets lost in the bushes or I get short. He pays me in full. So I shorted him on purpose, knowing he would pay me. And to this day, 80 years later, I'm still guilty. His name was Walker. I remember that. Every time I went to Walker's house, I had to make sure I know I was going to collect my money, and sometimes he even gave me a nickel tip. Yeah? And I shorted him the paper. And it happened again when the guy wanted the paper. I said, no, no, no. Finally, he gave me a quarter for one paper, and I sold him the paper. But this time I think I took it from somebody else. I didn't take it from Walker. My father gave me one and my brother Lenny. Yeah? Because Lenny went out there and started flying his kite. A day later the thing was crashed into this thing. I took mine, took it in my bedroom, I unfolded it, I put it together, and I made believe I was flying it because I didn't want to hurt it. So then I would take it and wrap it up again and put it back under my bed. Yeah? A couple days later, I'd take it out again and do it again. And then one day I went under the bed and it was gone. I said, what the hell happened to my kite? And I found out from my mother, well, you kept it under the bed and your father said you didn't want it, so he put it back and sold it. Yeah? I said, what? And I couldn't tell him how I was taking care of my kite. And for the rest of my life, I was, that kite story bothered me. To this day, I lost my kite because my father thought I didn't want it because I didn't use it the way I was supposed to fly it. And finally, my mother told him, and he didn't know it. He told me he was sorry, or something to that effect. That's not, you don't get that from an Italian father, because to him it was worth something, $1 or something, I don't know. But I have a kite story, and everybody knows my kite story, because sometimes I tell that as wisdom. You got something you can use, you got something you cherish, but you got to do it.